What would you do, Peter Young once asked himself, if the one person who kept your world together suddenly decided to leave? He had never imagined he would find out. Until today. From the 23rd floor of Daehan Group's headquarters in Seoul's gleaming Gangnam district, Peter stood behind his glass desk, staring down at the open-plan office below. The city's late morning sunlight streamed in, bouncing off chrome pillars and polished floors. Among the dozens of employees moving with hurried purpose, there was only one he was watching. Anna Simon. She was at her desk, typing with the same poise and precision she had displayed every day for the past 9 years. Her back was straight, her head slightly tilted as she read the screen, the faintest curve of concentration on her lips. Even in something as routine as answering emails, Anna moved with a quiet elegance that made her stand out, not because she tried to, but because it was who she was. There was a strange comfort in that view. She was the constant in his chaotic, high-stakes life. The woman who remembered every detail, anticipated every problem, and somehow made him look better than he deserved. Peter leaned forward, resting his hands on the edge of his desk. Something about her today felt different. There was a stillness to her movements, a deliberate pace, as though she were finishing something rather than beginning. The knock on his office door was soft, almost hesitant. "Come in," he said, his eyes still fixed on the glass. When Anna stepped in, the atmosphere shifted. She wore a charcoal grey suit, professional, understated, but her eyes were darker than usual, guarded. She closed the door behind her, her fingers briefly lingering on the handle. Peter straightened. "Is something wrong?" She didn't sit. She didn't smile. "I'm resigning, sir," she said quietly, her voice steady but distant. For a moment, the words didn't register. They hung in the air between them, soft yet shattering. He blinked, his mind racing through scenarios. Had she been offered a better position elsewhere? Was she moving back to Nigeria? Had he offended her somehow without realizing? "You're resigning," he repeated slowly, as though saying it aloud would make it make sense. "Yes," she said, meeting his gaze briefly before looking away. "I've made my decision." Peter studied her face, searching for a crack in her composure, some sign that this was a joke, or at least something she might reconsider. But Anna's expression was unreadable, perfectly composed, too composed. "Why?" he asked finally, his voice quieter than he expected. "It's personal," she replied, a faint note of finality in her tone. The answer was infuriating. Not because she owed him her life, she didn't, but because for 9 years, they had been a perfect team. She had been closer to him than anyone else in the company. And now, she was walking away without telling him why. He took a step closer, his voice losing some of its usual executive detachment. "Anna, you've worked with me longer than anyone else. You know my schedule better than I do. You've been indispensable. And you're telling me you're just going to walk out without an explanation?" Her eyes flickered, just for a second, and he caught it. Something was there. Something she wasn't saying. "I'm sorry," she said softly, "but my mind is made up." Peter felt a muscle in his jaw tighten. No. This wasn't just a resignation. This was a retreat. And whatever she was retreating from, he needed to know. He studied her one last time, but her mask didn't slip. With a polite nod, she turned and walked towards the door, each step measured, controlled. As the door closed behind her, Peter stayed still for several seconds, the echo of her words still ringing in his head. He was not a man easily shaken. But Anna Simon had just done what no one else could. She had unsettled him. And he had no intention of letting her go without a fight. Peter Young was not used to losing. Not deals. Not negotiations. And certainly not people. By the time the sun had dipped below the Seoul skyline that evening, his office lights were still on. The building was quieter now, most staff having left, but Anna's desk lamp still glowed in the open-plan space below. He could see her silhouette, tidying documents into precise stacks, her movements slow but deliberate, like a person wrapping up more than just a day's work. Peter drummed his fingers against his desk, debating his next move. Logic told him to let her go, pride told him she'd regret leaving. But something deeper, something he didn't quite want to name, told him he couldn't allow this. He picked up his phone. "Anna, come in for a moment," he said. Moments later, she entered, holding a notepad as though ready for instructions. "Sit," he said. She hesitated. Is this about tomorrow's schedule? No, Peter replied, leaning back in his chair. This is about you. Anna's brow creased slightly. Me, sir? Yes, you. And your resignation, which I don't accept. She let out a faint breath that was almost a laugh, though it carried no amusement. With respect, you can't reject a resignation. Peter's gaze didn't waver. Watch me. Anna closed her notepad, placing it on the desk between them. This isn't a negotiation. I've made up my mind. Then let me change it. Her lips pressed together. Why? There are hundreds of qualified assistants in Seoul. You could replace me in a week. That's not the point, Peter said, his tone softening. I don't want just any assistant. I want you. For a moment, the air between them shifted. It wasn't the boardroom tone, or the clipped efficiency they were used to, it was something else. Anna's eyes flickered, as though she'd felt it too, and quickly looked away. Peter reached into a drawer and slid a folder across the desk. Inside was a new contract, double her current salary, an allowance for housing in Hanamdong, and a company car. Stay, he said simply. Anna glanced at the papers but didn't touch them. You're very generous, but it's not about money. Then what is it about? He pressed, his voice quieter now. Because you're not telling me the truth. Her gaze returned to his, steady but guarded. There are things in my life I have to deal with, things I can't do while I'm here. Peter leaned forward, lowering his voice. If you're in trouble, I can help. Anna gave the faintest smile, though it didn't reach her eyes. Not everything can be solved by a vice chairman, Peter. He caught the slip. She had never used his first name before. It landed somewhere between his chest and his throat, making it harder to keep the conversation professional. Before he could respond, she stood. Thank you for the offer. But my answer is still no. She left the office, closing the door gently behind her, leaving him with a silence that felt far too loud. Peter stared at the closed door, his jaw tightening. This wasn't just resignation, it was running. And he needed to know why. That night, as he drove through the neon-lit streets of Gangnam, he realized something unsettling. He wasn't just trying to keep an employee. He was trying to keep Anna Simon, the woman who had quietly become the center of his life. And losing her was not an option. Peter Young had always trusted his instincts. They had closed billion-won deals and crushed competitors. And right now, his instincts were telling him that Anna's resignation wasn't her own idea. 3 days had passed since she'd handed in her notice. She was still at her desk, still efficient, still polite. But something had changed. She no longer lingered in conversation, no longer allowed those fleeting moments of shared humor they used to have. Her movements were precise but cautious. And Peter hated it. On Thursday afternoon, he left a board meeting earlier than planned and took the elevator down to the floor where Anna's desk Saturday. As he approached, she was speaking quietly into her phone, her voice low and tense. Yes. I understand. No, I haven't told him anything, she said, her back half turned. The moment she spotted him, she ended the call, slipping her phone into her bag. Sir, she greeted, her tone polite but stiff. Did you need something? Who was that? He asked casually, though his eyes searched hers. Just a friend, she replied too quickly. Peter didn't push, at least, not yet. Instead, he glanced at the documents she'd been working on, nodded, and walked away. But the unease stayed with him. That evening, after most employees had left, Peter returned to his office but kept the lights low. From behind his blinds, he saw Anna gather her things and head for the lifts. But instead of leaving the building, she turned toward the side entrance, where very few staff ever went, and met a woman in a beige coat. Even from a distance, Peter could see their exchange wasn't casual. Anna's shoulders were tense, her arms folded tightly across her chest. The woman leaned in, speaking quickly, gesturing with sharp movements. At one point, Anna's expression hardened, and she shook her head. When they parted, Anna walked quickly out into the cold Seoul night, her steps brisk and purposeful. The woman lingered for a moment, pulling out her phone. Peter's phone buzzed with a message from Han Sejin, a longtime family friend who worked in one of Daehan Group's subsidiary companies. You should know, someone is trying to push Anna out. I'll explain soon. Don't trust everyone around you. Peter stared at the screen, his jaw tightening. This wasn't paranoia. Something was happening. And whoever was behind it had underestimated just how far he was willing to go for Anna Simon. The next morning, Anna arrived early as always, her expression perfectly calm. But Peter could see it now, the tiny cracks in her composure, the way her eyes flicked to her phone when she thought no one was watching. During a meeting that afternoon, he caught her glancing towards the glass wall, her gaze distant, almost worried. And in that moment, Peter realized two things. 1. She was keeping something from him. 2. Whatever it wasn't just her problem anymore. He intended to find out the truth. Peter wasn't a man who mixed work with personal life. He kept clear lines, neat boundaries. But tonight, those lines blurred the moment he dialed Anna's number. "It's about the marketing review," he said when she answered. "Now?" she asked, her voice carrying a note of hesitation. "Yes. Dinner meeting. My treat." He could almost hear her weighing the decision before she finally said, "All right." They met at La Lumière, a quiet French restaurant tucked away on a side street in Itaewon. The place was known for its candlelit tables and soft piano music, hardly the kind of setting for a strictly professional dinner. When Anna arrived, Peter found himself momentarily at a loss for words. She wasn't in her usual office attire. Instead, she wore a simple navy dress, her hair swept back in a way that revealed the delicate line of her jaw. "You look," he began, then stopped himself. "Different." "Hopefully not too different," she replied with a faint smile, taking the seat across from him. They talked briefly about the marketing review, but Peter noticed how quickly the conversation veered into other territory: her first year in Korea, the culture shock, the language barrier. "You must have had a difficult time," he said. "It wasn't easy," Anna admitted. "When I first came, I didn't know anyone. I was just trying to survive. New city, new culture, a job that demanded everything. And then," she hesitated, her gaze dropping to the table. "I learned to keep my head down and not let anyone get too close." Peter leaned forward slightly. "Is that why you're leaving? Because someone got too close?" Her eyes flicked up to his, and for a second, it felt like the entire room had gone quiet. "You ask too many questions, Peter," she said softly. "That's because I want answers," he replied. The waiter arrived with their meals, breaking the moment. But the tension lingered, unspoken and thick between them. Halfway through dinner, Peter asked, "That night I saw you by the side entrance. Who was the woman you met?" Anna's fork paused mid-air. "Just someone from my past," she said carefully. "Someone I'd rather not see again." "Does this have anything to do with the phone call I overheard?" She looked at him for a long moment, then gave a small, almost resigned smile. "You don't miss much, do you?" "Not when it comes to you," Peter said. The words left his mouth before he could think, and he saw the way they caught her off guard. They finished the meal with lighter topics, but as they left the restaurant, Peter walked her to her car. The February air was crisp, the streets lit with warm yellow lamps. "Thank you for dinner," she said. "Thank you for saying yes," he replied. As she opened her car door, he added, "Anna, whatever's going on, I'm not the enemy. Remember that." Her eyes softened just a fraction. "I know." But when she drove away, Peter couldn't shake the feeling that knowing wasn't the same as trusting. The next morning, Peter arrived at the office earlier than usual. The building was still waking up, cleaners wiping down glass panels, the smell of fresh coffee drifting from the break room. He passed Anna's desk. She wasn't there yet, but someone had been. A folder lay slightly ajar, papers shuffled in a way that didn't look accidental. Peter frowned. He glanced around. Only one person was in sight, Mr. Choi, the head of finance, standing near the copy machine. Choi was known for his sharp suits and sharper tongue, and he was watching Peter with a little too much interest. "Early day for you," Choi said casually. "Same for you," Peter replied, his tone neutral. Choi gave a small smile and walked away, but Peter noticed him glance back once. By 9 a.m., the usual office chatter had started. Anna arrived, greeting Peter with a polite nod. He watched her quickly scan her desk before sitting down, a flicker of unease in her eyes. "You okay?" Peter asked when he had a moment alone with her. "I'm fine," she said quickly. "Why?" "No reason. Just noticed you looked unsettled." Anna hesitated, then leaned in slightly. "Someone's been going through my things. I can feel it. Last week, one of my project files was missing." Yesterday, a confidential document showed up on my desk, something I never printed. Have you told HR? She shook her head. They'd think I'm being paranoid. And if the wrong person hears, it could make things worse. Peter's mind was already working. This isn't paranoia. It's targeted. Someone wants you uncomfortable, maybe even gone. Anna didn't answer, but her silence said enough. That afternoon, during a department briefing, Peter noticed something strange. While Anna was presenting, Choi whispered something to another manager, who chuckled and jotted something down. Later, Peter overheard snippets, words like audit, mistakes, and compliance. After the meeting, Peter pulled Anna aside. "Watch your back with Choi," he warned. She looked at him sharply. "You think he's behind this? I think he's involved. Or at least playing along." As they returned to their desks, Peter caught sight of Choi leaning against the glass wall, phone in hand, murmuring something. When their eyes met, Choi smiled, not the polite kind, but the kind that told Peter this was going to get messy. That night, as Peter locked his office door, a thought lodged in his mind and refused to leave. If Choi was the enemy, he wasn't acting alone. 2 days later, Peter found himself in the boardroom earlier than expected. A meeting had been called for all department heads, but as he entered, only 2 other people were there, Choi and Ms. Lillian Park, the company's legal advisor. They stopped talking the moment he walked in. The air felt thick with something unsaid. "Morning," Peter said evenly, sliding into a seat. "Morning," Lillian replied, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. Choi just nodded. Peter set his tablet on the table, pretending to scroll through notes while keeping an ear open. Choi's voice dropped to a whisper, but Peter caught fragments, evidence, conflict of interest, won't survive HR review. Before he could hear more, other managers began filing in. The meeting officially started, and the agenda looked routine: budget adjustments, upcoming projects, compliance updates. But when Choi presented his section, Peter noticed something that made his chest tighten. In Choi's audit review slides, there was a brief mention of Project Helix, Anna's project. The notes claimed there were irregularities in expense reports, flagged for investigation. Peter kept his face neutral, but his mind was racing. He knew Anna's work, meticulous, transparent. If irregularities had been found, someone had put them there. After the meeting, he caught up with her in the hallway. "They're targeting Helix," he said quietly. Her eyes widened. "What? Why?" "Because if they discredit you, they get the project, and possibly your position." Anna exhaled slowly. "Peter, this is bigger than I thought." They decided to meet after work at a quiet cafe across town. Over steaming cups of coffee, Anna revealed something she hadn't told anyone. 2 weeks ago, she'd turned down an offer from Choi himself. He'd wanted her to redirect a portion of the Helix budget into external consultancy, but the company he named didn't exist. She refused, and since then, things had been strange. Peter leaned back, the pieces clicking into place. "This isn't just office politics. This is corruption." Anna looked at him, worry flickering in her eyes. "If we push back, they'll come after you too." He gave a faint smile. "Then they'll have to deal with both of us." But as Peter left the cafe that night, he couldn't shake the feeling that they had just stepped into a game where the other side had already made their moves. By midweek, the air in the office felt different. People greeted Anna with polite smiles, but she noticed the sideways glances, the quick silences when she walked by. It started small, a comment overheard at the coffee machine, a sarcastic remark about creative accounting in the elevator. But by Thursday, it was impossible to ignore. The rumor was clear: Anna had mishandled company funds. She sat in her office, staring at her computer screen, her coffee untouched. Peter walked in without knocking, shutting the door behind him. "They're moving fast," he said grimly. "I've traced at least 3 of those whispers back to Choi's assistant." Anna rubbed her temples. "They're poisoning my name before I can defend myself." Peter pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket and placed it on her desk. "I think this is our opening." It was a copy of an internal memo, unofficial, unsigned, that detailed a budget transfer from Project Helix to an outside vendor. The vendor's name matched the fake consultancy Anna had refused to use. Anna frowned. "This was never approved by me." "Exactly," Peter said. "Which means someone forged the authorization." And if we can prove that. She met his eyes, a spark of hope igniting. We can turn this around. Peter leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. But we have to be smart. If they know we're digging, they'll bury the evidence. That evening, instead of going home, they stayed in the office until the cleaning crew came in. Peter combed through archived emails while Anna accessed old expense reports. Around midnight, Peter's phone buzzed with a message from an old friend in the IT department. Check the backup server. Folder name, Osprey. When they opened it, they found exactly what they'd hoped for: copies of Choi's communications with the fake vendor and a PDF scan of Anna's signature on the forged authorization. Anna sat back, exhaling shakily. Peter, if we use this right, we can not only clear my name, we can take them down. Peter's lips curved into a faint smile. Then let's start planning their fall. The next morning, Anna woke to a text from Peter. We meet at 7. Café Lumière. No one from the office can see us together. When she arrived, Peter was already seated in the farthest corner, a laptop open and a small espresso untouched beside him. His eyes lit up when he saw her, but there was a tightness in his jaw. I didn't sleep, he admitted. I've been thinking about how to do this without putting you in more danger. Anna reached across the table, her fingers brushing his. Peter, I'm already in danger. But I'm not afraid, as long as we face it together. That broke his tension. He squeezed her hand before leaning in. I've got a plan. Tonight, we leak the forged documents to the legal team anonymously. Tomorrow, I'll corner Director Choi in the boardroom, with the chairman present. Once they see the evidence, Choi won't have anywhere to hide. Anna hesitated. If this backfires. Peter cut her off gently. If it backfires, I'll take the fall. I'll resign before they can touch you. Her heart clenched. No, Peter. We're drawing the line here. If one of us goes down, we go down together. No more sacrificing alone. They spent the next few hours refining the plan, timing the email, encrypting the files, deciding the moment to strike. But in between strategy, their glances lingered, their voices softened. When the cafe emptied, Peter reached over and tucked a strand of hair behind Anna's ear. When this is over, I'm going to take you somewhere far from Seoul. Somewhere no one knows our names. Anna smiled faintly. And what happens there? He leaned in until his lips were just a breath from hers. We start our life. Together. That night, at exactly 11:47 p.m., Anna hit send on the encrypted email to the legal team. She sat back in her chair, her pulse racing, not just from fear, but from the feeling that this was the beginning of the endgame. In the dim light of her apartment, she whispered to herself, "We're almost there, Peter. Almost." The boardroom was tense the next morning. Every seat was filled, senior executives, the chairman, legal representatives. Director Choi sat at the far end, smug as ever, unaware that his empire was about to crumble. Peter stood at the head of the table, a file in one hand. Anna was in the corner, officially there as the CEO's secretary, but her eyes never left Peter. He caught her gaze for a moment, the smallest nod passing between them. It was time. Chairman, Peter began, voice steady. Before we proceed with the quarterly review, there's something urgent you need to see. He placed a thick stack of printed documents on the table. The legal head flipped through them, eyebrows lifting higher with each page. Where did you get these? Peter's gaze flicked to Choi. An anonymous source. But their accuracy has been verified, every forged signature, every hidden transaction. All traced back to Director Choi. The room erupted. Choi's face drained of color. This is outrageous. It's fabricated. But Peter didn't flinch. If it's fabricated, then I assume you'll have no problem with the IT department pulling up your private email archives. Silence. Anna stepped forward, holding up a small USB. They're already copied. Legal has everything. The chairman's voice was cold. Director Choi, effective immediately, you are suspended pending investigation. Choi tried to stand, but two security officers were already moving toward him. As he was escorted out, he shot Peter and Anna a venomous glare. But Peter only reached for Anna's hand under the table, squeezing it in quiet victory. When the meeting adjourned, Peter led Anna out of the building. The crisp winter air hit them, and for the first time in weeks, Anna could breathe. You did it, she whispered. We did it, Peter corrected, pulling her close. I couldn't have done this without you. And then, right there on the steps of the company headquarters, with the city moving around them, Peter dropped to one knee. Anna froze, eyes wide. Peter, what are you? He took her hand. I don't want to wait anymore. We've fought battles, faced betrayals, risked everything. Now I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Anna Simon, will you marry me? Her answer came in the form of a tearful laugh. Yes. Yes, Peter. He slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her, slow and deep, as if sealing every promise they had ever made. 2 months later, in a quiet ceremony outside of Seoul, Peter and Anna stood before family and friends, exchanging vows under a canopy of white flowers. Their journey had been filled with trials, but in the end, their love had conquered every obstacle. As they walked down the aisle hand in hand, Anna leaned close and whispered, "We won, Peter. Not just the fight, but each other." Peter smiled, his eyes locked on hers. "And I'll never let us lose again."